Those two make a fucking... Alrighty, good morning everybody. We are live. It is Friday and we're well into January now. In fact, we're almost on the cusp of February, which I know is Ben's favorite month. Ben, obviously you love February because February is Black History Month, which is very important to you. There we go.
Yeah, it is. It's the month that we're all going to walk into.
Is that what the hoodie's for?
Yeah, I'm preempting it.
Simpiwe is here, Ben is here, and later on, Gord Laws will be joining me here in Cape Town. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get a word in edgewise, but I'll try. So all of that's coming up, and we've got loads of stuff to talk about. We've got some sport. Huh?
You're not wrong.
No, Gord. Jeez, when Gord talks, everyone has to shut up. So it's been an interesting couple of days. We've had like a proper business strategy. You know, I'm still getting into the idea of having all these different business interests and how they all work and kind of managing people and figuring out processes and, you know, there's stuff that is completely foreign to me that I'm working out for the first time. And I have to tell you, I'm actually really enjoying it. I thought this stuff would drive me crazy and I'd hate it, but I'm not. I'm finding it fascinating.
But this is how you stay young, hey Cliff, because now you're making your brain work in different kind of ways.
Well, you say that, but I saw a friend of mine yesterday. He actually, I didn't know, but we're booked into this hotel in Cape Town, which is quite close to the place that we're meeting. And it turns out this is his building. Turns out that he came up with the concept for this hotel. And the guy is absolutely, he's just like fucking successful beyond belief. And I knew him maybe 15 years ago. I met him in Durban. He's married. He's got a daughter. He's got this little funny looking dog. He lives down here. He's opened up various versions of this place all over the country. And he's busy. He's about to open like a whole thing in San Francisco. The guy's really fucking kicking ass and taking numbers. I'm so impressed with him.
Amazing. It's always great hearing those stories. Huh?
Yeah, well, the reason I tell the story about Murray is that I saw him here yesterday while I was sitting with two of our guys from the meetings that we're in. And I was having a coffee, and this guy comes out, and I'm like, shit, Murray, how the hell are you? So we start talking, and then someone says, oh, we must take a picture. So I take a picture, and I looked at myself in it, and I thought, Jesus, you look fucking old. Simpiwe, don't you laugh too hard. You're still the youngest on this show.
Well, now I'm turning 30 this year, so going downhill.
Wow, Sims. Hey, at least unlike Ben and I, you've now produced progeny, so you can talk about like things that we could never discuss on the show before. Like you can bring in motherhood and how it feels to have kids and what that means for the world and all that shit. I mean, like it's a big deal.
I know.
You have no idea how much you balance us.
Mm-hmm.
But now
in every way.
He's like, oh, my baby and my kid. And I read this and I did this and oh.
I know. It's beautiful, man. All right. So there's a whole weekend ahead of us. And I know that we'll get to some sport later on with Ben. We've got so much to talk about. I see that the fires are still going on in LA. What an absolute fucking mess that is. I can't imagine. I even found myself feeling sorry for some celebrities that I don't care about at all. Not because they're celebrities, but I just thought about how shitty it must be to like lose everything in a fire and all your, the things that we regard as being like part of our personality, the stuff that we really regard as important for our ID, for our place in the world, the things that have been collected over years, and little things. I mean, old Paris Hilton, who she's not even one of those people I think about anymore, and I wouldn't even really call her a celebrity because she's sort of settled down and she's become much less whorish, and she's got the kids, and she was saying that the children's art was on the fridge and in the kitchen, and it's all burnt down, and she can never remake that, right?
Yeah, the sentimental stuff they can never get back. I think also in the same breath, it's almost like, celebrity. I don't know if I can relate to you going through this tough time because you have another house. And a lot of people have lost their one and only home, the home that they grew up in. Kim Kardashian's getting a lot of backlash for hiring a private fire brigade to save her house. And it's like, well, if you had the money, I would also do it. I would also do it. So I'm like Team Kim Kardashian for the first time. And it's one of those things that really puts into perspective what is important and what's not.
Yeah. And it's not like your big house in Malibu or in Calabasas or wherever the Kardashians live. And we've seen all these places. The thing about LA is that even if you've never been there, you still know that these places exist and that they're real people that are there because you've seen them all on TV, right? So you kind of feel like you know them even though you don't. It's a very weird thing.
And also the updates are happening in real time. People are like, oh my gosh, like Kim Kardashian, are you okay? And then she'll reply like on Instagram, I'm fine, this or that, whatever. You really do have this false perception that you're going through this natural disaster with them and you're checking in on your favorite influencers and they're like, I'm not okay, I lost everything. So yeah.
I see Carl is as sensitive as ever. If my house burnt down, I'd be relieved to lose all of my kids' art. I feel bad when I throw it away and the kids get upset. This would be perfect. All right. We've got some sound issues, but apparently we've got some echoes and things going on. We Jean says burning platform. Well, we put that on hold in honor of what's going on, just to kind of in solidarity with the people in California. There's so much other stuff in the news too. I don't know. Did you guys see any of the stuff about the ANC's like birthday party and the celebrations that were going on there? Can we just pause for a minute and talk about that? They still do these things, and worse than still doing these things, I saw there was video that obviously because there's social media now, these things leak out, right? So you see all these people in their what they call their regalia. So all of the ANC fucking T-shirts and just these horrible, those horrible leather jackets that they have in the ANC that are like those, and the people in the ANC consider them to be really, really cool. They think they look amazing, even though we all think they look stupid. And they waste so much money, these ANC guys. This is like people rolling up in G-Wagons and spending money on expensive bottles of alcohol. And it's also like conspicuous consumption, just gross. It's like there's new money. It's just tacky. It's wasteful. They spray the champagne all over each other. I don't know what they're celebrating because this crew now have reduced the ANC to their lowest rating ever. Like the average South African hates them more than ever, and less South Africans like them than ever before. They shouldn't be celebrating. And then apparently Fikile Mbalula, because they did something on Robben Island, which is almost, I think, a little kind of sacrilegious, if there is such a word that can apply to the ANC, because they like whatever they did on Robben Island, it's gross probably compared to what Robben Island should be treated like, right? It's like one of our national It's one of our spaces in this country. It's one of the places in South Africa that people from all over the world want to go to because there's so much deep and powerful and tragic meaning attached to it. But these sons of bitches, like Fikile Mbalula, he won't go there on the ferry, which, by the way, is terrible, and they need to give it some attention because they also haven't been looking after Robben Island. So Fikile Mbalula, not to be outdone, he gets on a private yacht that a friend of his, a friend in inverted commas, and I want to know who these people are, right? Like these rich people who help these politicians to do things that they could never afford. These guys we must call out. And he gets on this dude's yacht. I mean, it's like, it's a fancy, smart boat. It's one of those ones that you see drunken celebrities in December, or even not celebrities, just ordinary oaks from like Fourways. They hire the boat for the weekend. They then they park the boat there in Clifton, and then they jump off and get back on, and they think they're in, I don't know, the Mediterranean or something. I think they're off Juan Le Pin or something. So Fikile arrives on this boat, right? Because he's too special and he's very important now. And some rich friend is like paying for it, apparently. Who knows? He might have even chartered the thing because he's so image obsessed, that dude. And then there's this huge shitstorm that breaks out about how he should have used the ferry and kind of stuff I agree with. But you must not try to teach these guys in the ANC to not spend their or other people's money. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm. In fact, they are experts. They have PhDs in spending money that is not theirs because that's all they've done for the past 30 years. That's all they do.
But like maybe that's what they're actually celebrating deep down. We can't comprehend this because we have morals and values and we believe in other people. But maybe that's actually what they're celebrating. Like that scene from the Italian Job when they steal the gold in the beginning and they all get to that place in the Alps and they're all drinking champagne. That's the ANC thing every time. It's like, guys, for another year, we've actually managed to do this. We're useless sons of bitches, but we still have all this stuff. So that's actually a really great reason to celebrate.
Well, Slippery Pickle says that boat was only a 36-foot boat, like a bay liner or something. It's about as cheap as yachts go, so kind of embarrassing. Judas says, yes, the luxury yacht ride. Fikile Mbalula should be ashamed. How much sucking went on from Cape Town Harbour to Robben Island? Oh, Carl's busy correcting me here. Gareth, I think 2025 is the year you learn the difference between fewer and less. It's been too long now. Can you count it? Then it's fewer. Okay. Got you. All right. I'll, one day, I pride myself in being more or less decent on most kinds of language issues, especially when it comes to English. But this is never going to be one that I'll absolutely get right. In fact, I had a girlfriend who used to correct me on that. And the use of me and I. Sometimes you say, Simpiwe and I went to the shops. And she used to say to me, no, that's wrong. It should be Simpiwe and me went to the shops. Oh, and I could never figure that out.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
Yeah, I thought so too. But
it sounds
she at the time, she was very pretty, so I kind of paid attention.
I stopped. She's probably wrong, but you were right to be with her.
She's probably wrong. No, that's why she's an ex, Gareth, says Lee.
I was always taught in school that the I must go at the end because it's not about you.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. If only more people applied that, not just in grammar, but in everything.
Yeah. Because people always say me and this, me and this, me and that. People always say me first. And all my English teachers in school is like, it's not about you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Me.
So Bushveld Butt says, and Ben, we want some comment from you on this. Former Springboks coach Peter de Villiers joined the MK party. It seems like he's desperate to be relevant. Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what Bushveld Butt said.
What's he going to do there?
I don't know.
He'll give help to the Minister of Sports or something. There's always something to do.
Yeah, but in MK, I mean, they're not part of the GNU. Nobody really wants anything to do with them.
Yeah, so he's 50. Yeah, shame. This guy got a bit of you got a rough ride here. I mean, he was ultimately the Springbok coach, and from there he fell so hard. The last I heard, he was coaching the deaf rugby team. No one gave him a job after that. It was really, really unfortunate. He was put into this position. Nice enough guy. I think there could have been something there, but like he couldn't get a job anywhere. And the MK now, sheepers, that's a confirmation of it's now over here.
If he just gets rid of the pedo moustache, he could probably get more jobs.
Cliff.
Don't laugh, Simpi. I know you know what I mean. Like the pedo moustache is a real thing.
Yeah, you mustn't look dangerous. You mustn't look, you know.
But hang on a second. He was actually part of the good party, so he's been in this. Oh, shame.
Yeah,
so
he's been messing around with politicians for a while.
Yeah, he wants the money. He's in it for the money. I don't know how much everyone's offering, but everyone's jumping ship. So must be nice. That's
all right. Well, let's get into some stuff here because Cape Town, where I am at the moment, and I'm flying back today, but Cape Town's just been voted best city in the world. I mean, this comes up every now and then, right? So it's a thing that Cape Town claims. I've only ever had a phone stolen in Cape Town, nowhere else. So this is, of course, by Time Out magazine, surpassing cities like New York, London, Melbourne. It ranks Cape Town because of the city's stunning landscapes, vibrant culture, and economic growth. Also, it acknowledges significant crime issues. Okay, so they talk about, my phone. That's the whole reason I brought that up. It's just me. Not I got shot, me.
Don't ever forget, I got shot in Cape Town.
You did? That's true. Tell people the story in case they've forgotten.
No, I can't keep telling the story, but I got shot. The guy shot me with a fucking R5 rifle, hit my shoulder. I'm still alive. Fuck you.
That's very South African, hey? You're like, this is a good story. This is one you bring out whenever your international friends are around. You're like, crime's really bad in New York. You're like, yeah.
No, when people say crime's really bad in Joburg, how do you live there? It's like, I came here to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. And then that dude shot himself.
Who shot himself?
Himself? No, Ben's been through the wars, man. I mean, the guy's got stories.
Who shot himself? What are you talking about?
No, he didn't shoot your flatmate or whatever. The guy killed himself.
Yeah, he killed himself, but that was with a knife.
Okay, with a knife, even worse. Even worse. You know how messy that is. So yeah, there's some serious.
Yeah, you guys are real trauma. Yes.
Before I tell you Cape Town story, Lee says, I'm not a fan of Cape Town, honestly. I think George, Knysna, Nature's Valley has much more to offer. Cape Town has a flat mountain that you pay through your ass to hike on. Joburg by the sea you can't swim in. Listen, this place is pretty spectacular. There's a lot going on here. Cape Town is an international travel destination. People never go, I'm going to Joburg, but they do. If they're coming to South Africa, say, I'm going to Cape Town, right? And I'm always the first to knock Cape Town from side to side. We went out on it was the day before, Wednesday night. We spent the day doing work and everybody's tired. Then we all went out for supper. And then a bunch of us decided, no, we're not going to be boring. We're going to go out and see what we can find. Anyway, we went out and nothing was open. I mean, we weren't going to go into town because we're actually in sort of Newlands, Claremont, that area. So we weren't going to go into town because that's a bit of a schlep. But we did find a sports bar, Ben, which was brand new. It looked like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but it looked a bit like sort of something you might find in Lagos, right? But we ended up, there were about 4 of us, and we ended up having a really fun time. We took over the music, which was funny. And we were drinking shots. And it was fun. We ended up spending an hour and a half, 2 hours there. And then eventually everybody decided it was probably a sensible idea to go and get some sleep. But even on a dry night like that, a Wednesday, we still managed to find something to do. And there are cities in South Africa where you definitely won't. You know?
I think Cape Town deserves all the credit. If if none of us had been to Cape Town and went for the first time, we'd blow our minds. We'd be like, wow, this place is so incredible. And we only mostly give it shit because Cape Townians are mostly dickheads. And I'll say that because I'm from there and I can. It's like black people using the N-word. I can say that about Cape Townians. So I think it deserves all the credit. It really does. It is a phenomenal place. And you said it, like it's an international destination. So it's quite cheap when you consider it. You travel anywhere in the world, you pay out your ass for stuff. Cape Town is still affordable.
So when we were out having drinks, the one guy said that the world's #1 rated restaurant is here in the Cape. It's a place called Wolfgat. I don't know where it is. I don't know a whole lot of detail. Yes, Wolfgat is like the #1 culinary destination in the world at the moment. And Cape Town has about, I don't know, 3 or 4 on the top 20. So it's become, for like prawn braais on the beach, that kind of thing. Fish dishes. Our meat is very good. So South Africa is batting out of the park on that front. And if you think about it, that's what some people, like really rich people in America or Europe, they'll get on a plane and they'll fly somewhere just to try the restaurant that's been rated #1 by some magazine or some website. And they'll spend an absolute fortune. What in our currency, it feels like a fortune, but to them, it's not that much. And they get tremendous value for money. So I'm happy for Cape Town. The old me might have gone, fuck you, Cape Town. You don't deserve any credit. But I think if someone's running a little restaurant, I mean, there's this guy, Jan, who started these restaurants. I think he's got one in Joburg, in Cape Town. He might even have 2 here. And he's opened one up in Amsterdam. I mean, this guy is kicking ass and taking numbers. It just shows you can start off with an idea. And everybody dreams of, making tons of money. But building a brand from scratch is totally possible in this era. And if you just really pay attention to the details and you're good at what you do and you love it and you do it better than anyone else, you can build a little, empire of your own out of Cape Town or wherever. Maybe not PE, but almost anywhere. Patrick says, I'm Cape Townian. I left 9 years ago at 30. I'm in PE now. I can't deal with, for starters, traffic. And whilst infrastructure's down, it's like Cape Town in the late 90s. I pissed out of Cape Town 9 years ago, says Patrick. First 30 years of my life, there was enough. Also a Cape Town hater. And hey, I'm from there, so I can be a hater, like Ben.
Yeah. Gareth, I need to correct you. I mean, it's one thing you have the profile picture fraud on this show, but Wolfgat is not in Cape Town. It's in Paternoster.
Well, place. I said the Western Cape, Ben.
You said Cape Town is the greatest restaurant.
There are some of the Cape Town restaurants. All right.
But that's the thing. When you're in Cape Town, you have access to places like Paternoster, which is great. It's like a really great day out. Live a drive off the West Coast. West Coast is beautiful. And the thing about Cape Town is you get the West Coast and then you get the other coast, which is also just absolutely spectacular because you go into the garden route. There is so much. It is beautiful.
Yeah, Slippery Pickle says Cape Town would be perfect if the people weren't there. That's great. All right. Quite cheap. Fuck right off. You can literally take a family of 4 to Mauritius for a week for less than a weekend for 2 in Cape Town. Yeah, but compare, like if you're spending in dollars or pounds, dude, that's what I'm talking about.
No, that's your ass, Carl. Cheap as Carl.
Yeah, Carl.
You're the right guy.
Right. Yeah, full of ideas. Everything in Paternoster is #1, says Janine. It's a beautiful place.
Oh.
All right, and then Dr. Robin chiming in. For all the tea in China, I wouldn't live in Cape Town again. Too many, too much. Well, listen, I know that if you have money in Cape Town, it's a marvelous place, right? Oh, if you don't have money, it's a shithole. And the same goes for so many places in the world. London, New York, they're amazing cities if you've got lots of cash. You don't have money, hellholes.
Yeah. But people must stop this whole thing. Like, I don't want to live in Cape Town. I don't want to live in Cape Town. So I've stopped looking at it like a place I want to live at. I like visiting. I'm there next weekend. I'm going to go spend 2 nights there. I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah. If you visit, I always say it's great mistress and a terrible wife, right?
Yeah. And as you always
Yeah,
say,
and
Gareth,
Janine also brings up that Cape Town has that La Colombe, which is amazing. That's where they pour the like dry ice smoke all over your food, and you
That's
eat
bad.
these little things, and they kind of explode in your mouth, and it's like it's all this incredible. I'm not a foodie, so I don't know this shit like most people would, but I think if you are a foodie, that's enough to get you here in the blink of an eye.
yeah, phenomenal place there, like along. It's in Constantia, which is in Cape Town, Gareth. So yes, it totally qualifies.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for the geography lesson.
Always
You know, Ben, actually, I have something for you here. The first rule of Condescending Club is really kind of complex, and I don't think you'd understand it even if I explained it to you. All right. So there's the cat. Which cat's that?
That is Luna.
Okay.
She's watching the door because Hopkins' girlfriend always comes in the morning and tries to steal the food. So she's.
Jeez, that girlfriend of Hopkins is a hell of a. She's very, very voorop-die-waar in Afrikaans, we would say. All right, let's take a look at some other things. Simpiwe, you want to talk about the stationery list for 2025? Because we kind of mentioned this the other day on the show. And I remember that we would go shopping and my mom would say, all right, well, this is all the little stuff on the list that the school wants you to buy. But I've always been stationery obsessed, so we'd walk out with a whole lot more. And then she'd be kind of like, you don't need this shit. But I love that stuff. I mean, I've still got cupboards of crap at home that I'll never use. Notepads and envelopes and shit. But what's on the list for 2025? What do kids have to buy now when they go to school?
I don't know when this took place because just like you, Gareth, I also remember a time where we were just buying notepads and notebooks and pens.
Crayons.
You know, glue, scissors. That is stationery that you need for the year. It makes sense. Now, on the stationery list for 2025, it seems like schools are like, hey, we want pine gel and handy Andy, and they want facial wipes, 2-ply toilet paper. Some schools even take it a step further. They want rice and 2 kg of chicken and 20 rand of electricity. This is what parents have to buy now.
Okay, so this is if the school is asking you for chicken and rice at the beginning of the year, but that's a one-off. What is that? A staff party or something? That's what that is.
I don't know. But why are kids buying pine gel and handy Andy and cleaning
and
stuff?
what is pine gel used for again?
It's a cleaning thing. It's like a green cleaning.
I know what it is. I know how it smells. But what does it do?
It's to clean surfaces. So I'm asking myself, what cleaning are the kids doing now? Why are we buying
And
handy
if they were actually being put to work, that would be a good thing, right, Ben?
What kind of school is this? Is this like one of those self-starters? It's like, well, you guys can be shareholders now. It's a government school, private?
It's a government school, but it seems like it's happening at multiple schools. Moms and dads and parents have just like posted, hey, man, now why am I buying pine gel? And if you do the math, right? One kid one class. So there's 30 kids in one class. That's what, 30 pine gels. And they're asking for 5 liters that are this. And that's just one class.
I mean,
that's so much cleaning.
Do you think these teachers are like maybe stocking up for their own houses and they're like, let the kids the kids' parents buy this stuff for us?
I think so. I'm horrified at this. If this is where, stationery lists is heading, I don't want to be part of it. I don't understand. And the schools haven't explained why they have to buy pine gel and cleaning stuff in general, because I thought school fees took care of that part.
Yeah, exactly. Andile says this list is ridiculous. Bitcoin Bit says the stationery list for Sims in 6 years' time will be 1 Apple laptop, 1 Apple Watch.
It's crazy. Guys, no. I'm protesting now. Like, what?
Carl reckons it was Nomvula Mokonyane who put the stationery list together because remember they bribed her with that box of meat. So she's asking for chicken and rice.
No, guys, no, I'm shook to the core.
Dave wants to know, Sims, what's happened to this pine gel thing? Is Vim not good enough?
I know you've upgraded.
Vim.
No, 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 no. I've been in my cleaning era for a while. I can tell you what's in pine gel. It has that thing. It does the job. It has that scent of, the house has been cleaned. You use it for the floors. You use it for the cupboards. Some people take it a step further, use it maybe for the windows. I don't. There's other products for that.
Okay.
But, you can spring clean the house with pine gel. It's
but I don't know
all-in-
that parents should be buying this stuff for the school. I don't think so. Bronwyn says my son's school last year demanded and hounded us for 4 rolls of toilet paper per term. My son, who refuses to poo at school, doesn't even use the toilet paper.
Exactly. That's so unfair.
Oh, man. Cut me a piece of sunlight loaf and I'll do the laundry, says Dave. All right, so this is getting expensive for parents, is what you're telling me.
Yes. On top of like buying the pins and whatnot, now you're buying food and you're buying cleaning stuff for the school. Absolutely ridiculous.
I just remember those crayons, and they were like a major expense. Those crayons that you would turn the little thing at the end.
Oh, 10-ups.
And you remember those?
Yes, it's 10-ups. That's what they call it.
Those are the ones.
I still have them. Color in.
Oh, you still have them? Well, you're going to need them when your little girl grows up. But I mean, crayons were. Yeah, if your school. Here's a warning. I know we've got very low standards of education. There's been a lot of talk about matrics and the matric results in the last few days and how stupid our matrics are, and they are. But if you're in high school and they're still asking you to buy crayons, you're probably in a very dumb school.
Yes. Your kid's not that special.
No. Then you should be embarrassed.
Imagine.
Then you may be in a special needs rather than a special school. All right, Ben, what's going on in the world of sport?
Yeah, it's a good weekend, Gareth. We got UFC, we got Investec Champions Cup, we've got the Premier League. Let's start with the Premier League because Manchester United have rocketed up to 12th on the log. They beat the worst team last night, 3-1, Southampton. So, I mean, obviously, Man United fans think that the world has now changed because they beat Arsenal in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Arsenal strategically don't need to play in the Cups this year because they're just focusing on the league. So maybe a hollow victory, but they'll take whatever they can get. But this weekend, we've got Newcastle is still doing pretty well. They're about to try to get a top 4 spot. They're taking on Bournemouth. Brentford, who drew with Man City, they're taking on Liverpool. Liverpool are still on top of the log. If you go into your studio there, you'll see James is still very excited about this. This is the high point of James's life right now, the fact he's still a Liverpool supporter. Arsenal will be beating Aston Villa at 7:30 on Saturday. They are still second. They're in the slipstream, just waiting to pounce on Liverpool. Once their 75 players come back from injury, that would be awesome. And then Sunday, Nottingham Forest is the surprise story this year that keeps getting better and better. They drew with Liverpool this week. Of course, they beat them earlier in the season. They're taking on Southampton, who are absolute dog shit. They will be playing in much poorer situations next year. So if you are playing with Southampton now and you're currently dating a 9 or a 10, you're going to be in with the 7s and 6s next year in the first division, unfortunately. Everton, they'll be taking on Spurs. They'll be at 4. And Man United will be taking on Brighton at home. Huge game here for Man United. I don't think they're going to win that one, but it's a really big stepping stone to try and win something proper at home. And Brighton's still a decent team. And then Ipswich will be taking it all against the chin against Man City at 6:30 on Sunday. So, rugby. Now, the Investec Champions Cup is a thing that the South African teams aren't so great at just yet because we're playing against very established, very hardened, seasoned squads from Europe. So it's the best French guys, the best English guys. We already play against the best Irish, but they're very, very prime for this tournament. But all our teams have to do is get into the last 16. So there's 3 pools currently. I'll run you through those now. Sorry, there's 4 pools. Pool 1, the Sharks are currently in 4th place because Ulster and Exeter are so shit. All the Sharks need to do this weekend is just get the solitary bonus point, and then they go through to the last 16. Unfortunately for the Bulls, they have not done very well in this tournament. They have lost all 3 of their games in the Champions Cup. They do take on Stade Francais this weekend. They've got 0 points, so it really doesn't matter. They're out of the tournament. but they do need to win this game on Saturday and win quite handsomely because, they want to sort of get through. Look, if they beat Stade Francais by a huge amount of points, they can maybe get through, but I don't see it happening. A good win there just for momentum and just for Gees. And then the Stormers, they won 40-0 last week, which was quite something. And they are taking on Racing 92 in Racing 92, which is Paris. So this is the Olympic swimming last year at the Paris Olympics. The pool was in the Racing 92 stadium. Now, Racing has Owen Farrell back from injury, so that's a real big boost for them. And the Stormers too. Like, if they can just win this game, they'll go through to the final 16. Of course, all of our teams will then lose that match because that's when it gets really, really difficult. But still, it's good rugby to watch. And I think that's another cool thing about this tournament is that it exposes us a lot more to Europe's best because we don't often watch the Six Nations for various reasons, but there's a lot going on there, and it's nice to have this background so that when we get to the World Cup and we beat the Northern Hemisphere teams, we know who those guys are who are crying. So always good to watch more, always good to get exposed to more. And if you are a big fan of them, so the Bulls Stade Francais at 3. I know it's the wrong time of January to spend any money, but if you are a Loftus faithful, just have one brandy and Coke this week rather than the 7. We can get through this. Support the team. Everybody likes to watch the top team. So Leinster will be taking on Bath at 7:30 on Saturday. The Stormers, as I said, they'll be playing against Racing 92. They'll be at 10 o'clock on Saturday for the late game. And then Sunday, Bordeaux Berglaise will be hosting the Sharks at 3. And then the team everyone loves to watch because of Anton Dupont and all the other good guys, that's Toulouse. They are taking on Leicester at 5:15. So as I mentioned that we are heavy into the UFC this weekend. It's UFC 311, so it'll be in California. That's the stadium that the arena hasn't burned down. So by all accounts,
okay, good. I was going to say, yeah,
they're not going to be fighting in the embers, but the action will be hot though.
Can we have any more puns?
Yeah, they'll still come thick and fast. So the thing about it, like MMA in general, is that people don't like to watch the grapplers. They don't like to watch the guys who do all the struggle cuddles and ground and pounds, that kind of stuff. So traditionally you saw the guys from Dagestan and all the stans where you basically grow up around bears and not women. The fighting is a bit ugly, but the guys now have evolved their techniques and styles and matchups so much that these guys are actually really exciting. So when you look at the card and you see Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sarukian, those kind of fighters a few years ago might have been a bit boring, but these guys, they are so evolved now. I mean, Islam is the lightweights champion. His striking is so great. His last fight against Dustin Poirier in particular proved that. And then Arman Sarukian, he has fought Islam before and lost. Oh, my cats are fighting. You can't make this up. So that'll be the main fight. And these oaks, Islam's going to win. He is just so polished. He, of course, was Khabib Nurmagomedov's protege.
It's like when you start talking about UFC, your cats start fighting in the background.
No, well, Luna was there. Then Hopkins jumped on the table, and all happening. So like the main fight, Islam Makhachev, he is going to win that one, I feel. But this Arman Sarukian, he's a real hard bastard from Armenia. That'll be a really great fight. And then the co-main event is Merab Dvalishvili. He'll be taking on Umar Nurmagomedov, who is Khabib's cousin. And not great personalities. There's probably be a more boring fight. It'll be a slugfest because these guys like to get down and dirty. But there's a pretty hard all round, really. So that'll be from, I'd say, 5 in the morning. And it's definitely worth watching. Of course, UFC 312 next month in Sydney. That's the one we all want to watch because Drickus fights again against Sean Strickland. So that's a big thing to look out for. And then obviously the SA20. I went to the game last night. Unfortunately, it got rained out. The Joburg Super Kings did bloody well with the ball. They literally strode to the crease, and as they got to it, it pissed down and hasn't stopped until, a few hours ago. But this weekend, I mean, these SA20 games are good. They really are good. I mean, as I said on the Bounce Show this week, India has come in and they've rented South Africa for a full month. And they do a really good job with what they've got. They take over our stadiums, they take over our game, and it's a good show. It really is. And it's something to be really proud of as a sports fan. So, as a sports fan also, get involved, because if you don't go to the stadiums, the players won't care and the players won't come. And then SA20 will become like Joburg City Centre. It was once great, but now it's nothing. We're all going to play our part, is where I'm going with this. So tonight, Durban Super Giants versus the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. That'll be at 5:30 in Durban, which is still standing. If you didn't know what Durban is and you watch the shots, you go, oh, this place isn't so bad. See, because sports shines a light on what is possible. And Saturday, Pretoria Capitals versus Paarl Royals at 1:00. So by all counts, the weather will get better here in Gauteng. It's not going to be all doom and gloom. There might be a hint of sunshine. And Pretoria Capitals, of course, play at Centurion, which is probably one of the greatest places to drink a beer in this whole country. Grass banks, Bryce smoke, laughing kids. It's a great day out for so many. And of course, if you catch the ball with the one hand, you get a chance to win your share of 2 million with Betway. Because,
wow.
The party with these things, and it's fun. Then MI Cape Town will be taking on the Joburg Super Kings at 5:30 in Cape Town on Saturday, and then Sunday we've got the Sunrisers Eastern Cape versus the Durban Super Giants again. So much sport, as you would imagine. It's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year to get outdoors and support this. Rugby all through the day, Saturday, Sunday, and the crickets. And then, if you really like the UFC or the football, just a great weekend.
All right, so two quick things. Someone wanted me to pronounce the name of someone in the UFC, not Ruben Amorim. It's Merab Dvalishvili.
Yeah, the Georgian bantamweight champion.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much, Ben. But more importantly, we didn't mention, because James brought us the results on Monday, his team Liverpool beat Accrington Stanley by 4-0. Do you remember Accrington Stanley? We were talking about them just a week ago. Right, so Ben introduced them to us. I'm deciding, slowly but surely, they're going to become my team, Accrington Stanley. They didn't do very well there. But apparently there was an ad for milk or something that was made back in the, 70s. A long time ago. We've got a clip from it here. I'll play it for you, and then you can see how Accrington Stanley has been a part of people's lives for much longer than we thought. So go ahead, James, play that for everybody.
The most frequently imitated.
What? I'm going to be good enough to play for Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley? Who are they? Exactly.
18 years on, Carl Rice visited Accrington Stanley Football Club today, enjoying renewed media attention. It reminded him of the good old days.
Every single person that I'd walk past would recognise me from one advert.
Anyway, we don't have to play the whole thing, but that guy...
The most frequently imitated.
What? I'm going to be good enough to play for Accrington Stanley.
All right. Yeah, Accrington Stanley. Yeah.
So, Gareth, I've got some bad news. Accrington Stanley are currently 19th in the English League 2 table, so they're not. I don't think they'll be rising up the Premier League anytime soon. But they have won their last 2 games.
Ben, I don't care. I don't mind backing a loser on this one if their name is as good as Accrington Stanley.
Wow. I should do a whole
Shame.
podcast.
I kind of feel sorry for that guy that they had in the ad, because he's a little kid in the ad, and then they go, 18 years later, he enjoyed coming out with his scarf on for the first time in ages and remembering the good old days. I'm like, how old? He was a kid there, so he's what, in his 20s? First of all, the guy's terrible hairline for someone in his 20s, but let's just say,
wouldn't have been
how do you
20s,
know that was the highlight of his life? He still had so much ahead of him, that dude.
He was on TV. That was it.
So, Gareth, apparently for that ad, I think he was paid £10, like usage, everything. Just he was given £10 and a roll of boiled sweets, and that was probably it.
Well, I mean, you told us Accrington Stanley's whole lineup is what, like £3.2 million.
Yeah,
Peanuts.
Unbelievable. Bitcoin Bot says you should stop talking cuck, Ben. Centurion will rain out again. No one will win the money.
Okay, again, I don't think that's quite the attitude to go into the weekend with.
Yeah, very poor form. And then Signet just saying, Gareth, try supporting Scunthorpe United.
No, but it's Scunthorpe. You don't pronounce the TH, it's with an F.
Scunthorpe United. Isn't Scunthorpe United Posh Spice's favorite team?
Scunthorpe, yeah.
Yeah. I think
Well,
so.
if you're going to go support a team like Scunthorpe United, they're going to have very dirty songs about pretty much everybody.
Oh, definitely, without doubt. All right, so let's quickly, because we've got Gord coming in at 7, but I do want to get to one or two quick things. We've got to talk about that Brad Pitt, the fake Brad Pitt that duped this woman out of 16 million rand, because that's unbelievably stupid. But she fell for it. I mean, obviously, this woman, if Brad Pitt is hitting on you online and asking you for money, you something in you has got to go, ooh, bit suspicious. No matter how big your fantasy, it just shows you how people would rather believe the fantasy than the reality, even when it's obviously nonsense. And then we've got to talk about Mark Zuckerberg, because it seems to me like Mark Zuckerberg has done a 180-degree turn, and he's realized like the lie of the land. He always realizes it later than everyone else. I mean, that's kind of why he stole the idea for Facebook from those Winklevoss twins or whatever. And everything Mark Zuckerberg has ever done is like at least a year or two behind everyone else who's really at the forefront. But he gets there very quickly, and he changes his position, and he's like a chameleon. But what the hell's happened to him? Because suddenly he gave one instruction just a couple of weeks ago. Now all the tampons have been removed from the men's bathrooms at Meta. They were very woke before. Now they're not woke at all. So what's happened to Mark Zuckerberg?
Testosterone levels. He's unsoyed himself.
Reckon?
Guys, it's as simple as that. And, when you talk about this kind of stuff, people then talk about conspiracy theories. But if you look we've talked about this endlessly, but if you look at the last 10 years, there's all these efforts to make men more soyish, to make them emasculated, all that kind of crap, which then makes them compliant, it makes them weak, it makes them follow the shit that's trying to be dealt to them. And Mark Zuckerberg was a great example of that. I don't know I still don't know who's in charge of the world, but think about it. They soyed a guy who was in charge of the biggest social media platform in the world, okay? Because that's a really good strategic play to soy society. And then he started doing like jiu-jitsu and all these kind of things. He had an operation. He had to have a huge amount of growth hormone pumped into him and steroids because he had to recover. And then when he woke up from this thing, suddenly he's like an actual guy. And that's why the things turn around so quickly. That's why you see him talking about masculinity is good now, because the guy's finally got some testosterone running through his brain. It's that simple. It really is. There's nothing more to look at it. Look at everyone who's an absolute shit in life. Like, look at Bill Gates. Low testosterone levels. I can tell you that right now. Mm-hmm. He's an absolute shit. And look at people who are doing something with their lives. High testosterone. It's how men should function.
So in other words, if a guy has low testosterone, he's probably a weakling, and he's going to kowtow to all the nonsense, and he'll fall for all the bullshit, whatever's trending. But if he's got some testosterone, he's going to be able to stand his ground, make things happen, bring, yeah. I mean, look, he looks like way less lizardy in that picture.
Ooh.
He's never been more human, because he's unsoyed himself.
So what's the opposite of that? I mean, like, how do these people, do they just stop eating meat? Is that why we call them soy boys? What's the whole story there?
It is, Gareth. It's a variety of things. Like, you're at a desk, you're not getting sunlight, you're not doing normal fucking things like being outdoors, you're not exercising. Yeah, and it does come down to diet and all those kind of things. The whole, like, soyification of men in the last 10 years, I think it's been very strategic.
You think they've been doing it on purpose?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lee reckons it's the hair. Yeah, it's like Samson. Once he's grown his hair, he's fine. He removed the tampon from up his own ass. Women have more testosterone than some men these days, says Azalea.
Exactly, Azalea, because it's been a plan. It's been a plan. It doesn't just happen overnight because everybody wants a different hairstyle. This has been drummed into the system.
He looks so cool.
Well, I wouldn't say so cool. Like, Sims, don't get carried away here.
No, but he looks cool.
He's still got the lizardy eyes. There's still a lot of work to be done, but he does look better. And I think he's also doing a bit more physical exercise, and maybe not like listening to everything his wife tells him to do.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm just saying, if he was like at the coffee shop or whatever, sitting there, I think he would be able to gain some attention. He looks like he just looks like a guy who's like, I'm wearing a shirt with a chain, my hair's done. Like he just, oh, that's a cool dude. I'll talk to him. You know, that's what I mean. Like he looks so much better. I like this for him. This is nice.
So Bitcoin Butt, it's all in the name really, says an interesting story about the Winklevoss twins. They went all in on Bitcoin when they got paid out by Zuckerberg back in 2014. They are winning in life.
So the thing with them is that they were trying to become venture capitalists, but nobody actually wanted their money. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to buy Bitcoin.
Brilliant. I mean, that's so clever because obviously look at where they are now.
It all worked out for everybody. Zuckerberg became a human. They became billionaires.
Yeah. So it's all, the world is getting better now. Donald Trump gets inaugurated on, what is it, Monday or Tuesday? Monday. Yes, it is. Right. My God, the 20th. And that's at what sort of South African time, 7:00 in the evening. So if you're a major fan, then you may want to watch that. Probably, it's going to be the greatest inauguration. There'll be more people than at any other inauguration. There are going to be billions and billions and billions of people.
Just another step to unswaying the world.
Yeah, not bad. Carl says, I asked AI to draw me a pic of Zuckerberg in his car's trunk. I dubbed it Puss in Boot. Very good. Very good. And apparently Trump is even using, you know, that mugshot that they took when they arrested him? He's using that in all of his corporate communications now because he looks like such a badass in it.
Oh, my word.
That guy's funny.
I love that for you. No, that's cool.
He's the kind of guy you want to spend time with because he'll make you laugh. He's just something so cool about that guy.
Well, at Jimmy Carter's funeral the other day, he even made Obama laugh. And, you know, everybody who says he's Hitler and he's going to bring back the Third Reich and he's such a dangerous man, all of those people were sitting with him. I mean, it's fair to say that Kamala ignored him because I think she's still a little bit sore after the election. Yeah, and Hillary ignored him. But then that's not surprising. But he's sitting next to Barack Obama, and he turns to Barack and he says something to him, and Obama starts laughing. And I'm like, you know what? This is all just bullshit. They just put it on for the cameras. They don't actually hate each other. And Trump is funny. I'm pretty sure that whatever he said to Obama was actually probably hysterical. So I think he would be entertaining to be around. But I want to quickly talk about this woman who was like trapped or caught by a fake Brad Pitt. Sims, just like, you know the whole story here because I only read the headline of this thing and I thought, oh God, not another one. What happened?
Oh, ish. So the lady in question is Anne, and I have to give props to these guys that scammed her because I don't think I would have fell for this personally, but hey, I'm not Anne. The scammers used social media and AI to basically get her into a relationship with Brad Pitt, you know, and they basically told her that, hey, you know, as Brad Pitt, I don't have any money. I need money for a kidney transplant because his assets are frozen because he's still dealing with the divorce from Angelina Jolie. And baby girl was like, you know what, it's okay. I will not only just give you my money, but I'll also divorce my current husband because you are and I are in this together. And she basically gave the scammers her life savings worth 16 million rand. And if you see the pictures that the guys sent her, personally, you can see it's fake. You can see it's just
look at the bottom right one.
I love they sent her. Guys, but he's in hospital.
So what did this fake Brad Pitt say? Anne, I love you in the one picture. Did this fake Brad Pitt say he needed money for medical bills?
Yes. So I mean, they started. I think if I'm not mistaken, at some point, even Brad Pitt's mother messaged her to be like, they love her so much and they can't wait to meet her. But right now, they're dealing with this, and Brad is in hospital, fighting for his life, and it would really, really help if she can just. Yeah, but and even Brad is also saying, I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to be with you. But I'm in the hospital. I'm sick. I'm dying. I need the money. And boom, just like, and, yeah, she got scammed. And when I look at those pictures, I'm like, they're so fake. They're fake. They're not even good AI pictures. You can see that's Brad Pitt.
You can even see like the one picture, the first one and the third one in the top row. They're just the same face, just turned round. It's not even like they didn't even go to any trouble here. Like if it was like those deep fake videos you get of someone who's pretending to be like someone famous and it looks just like them, and you could kind of pick up maybe that it's not 100%. It's a bit creepy. It's a bit weird. It feels a little bit like made up. But these are so bad. That, like Ben says, the bottom right is just so bad.
And you know how she found out that she got scammed? I think she sent the money and then they stopped talking, but she didn't realize that she was scammed. She only realized when there was a news headline of like Brad Pitt out with his new girlfriend. And then she was like, wait a minute, this guy's healthy. He's living his best life. Me, I'm out here broke. And that's how she realized she was scammed.
I mean, Vyasan asks a really good question here. How can someone so dumb have 16 million rand?
No, she's also a Dani. She's like in her 50s. She's old. It's, what I mean, life savings. But come on now. I'm still stuck. She got a whole divorce. She was like, yeah, well, I didn't want you. You've been nonsense. You've been trash. I got Brad Pitt. Like, still I got a
wow.
Cantino. Scam.
Oh, man. Janine says, damn it, scamming the scammer would have been so good here. Come on, Anne. Yeah. Fuck, I don't get it, hey? Bradley from Boxburg is more like what that looks like. It's rather than Brad Pitt.
But hey.
But this is the problem. It's like some people, they're just so lonely and they're so desperate to be with someone. And when something like this, even though it's too good to be true, they can't help it. They're like, this is what I've been waiting for. Finally, I'm special. Brad Pitt chose me.
Guys, it goes full circle to where we started the show with the ANC celebrations, right? This is how politicians get votes. People want to believe in something. And then these guys, the scammers, the ANC, they get to celebrate with the bottle of champagne while everyone's tested. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Brad Pitt says makes... Wow, I don't know. All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to let Ben go. Ben, we'll see you next week. Are you going to any sport yourself this weekend?
No, playing golf tomorrow. Got a new driver in the bag, so very excited about that. And then probably driving range Sunday. Yeah, I'll take it easy.
Don't forget, if you are going to school, you need to buy your stationery and you must buy Brad Pitt so that you to your stationery. And we will be back, Simpiwe and I, with Gord Laws in the next hour. Don't go anywhere. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
I don't have any issues with people sleeping around. If you're wanting a strong relationship, it can't be started on the basis of we meet today, tomorrow we're sleeping together.
It used to be you'd go out somewhere social, you'd meet someone, you'd exchange numbers, and then you'd almost go on a series of dates before you even thought about sleeping together or taking things to the next step. This was in the age of models. That age is dead. Because now it's very fast. I can go on Tinder and I can find two things real quick because I'm cute. I can go out to the club and I can package one table there because they're drinking Savannas. You check what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're within my budget, you know? PH can go, he can operate because it's a champagne table. Yeah, bo? It depends on the man.
Indy 500, where you at with that?
I've just, I've never understood it, but shout out to the milk.
Indy 500, 25th of May. Now, I'm bringing this up because this is actually, they say this is the single biggest sporting event, motorsport event of the year. Check the size of that trophy, okay? That's the Borg Warner Trophy, I think it's called. Borg Warner Trophy. What do you think that trophy's value is?
Just break it down for me. I have no idea.
That trophy is valued at $3 million, okay? It stands...
It looks like that.
It looks like... So, if you win, your face goes on the trophy. Actually, they put your face on it.
Yeah,
this thing is so cool. The Borg Warner Trophy is so ginormous. This has been going since 1911, the Indy 500.
I was going to let Gord in. Hang on.
And there goes Gareth to let Gordon. Dun 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 dun. Don't know how long this is going to take. As you can see, the green.
All right. Sorry, he was locked out. I know. Simpiwe is here. I'm here. You're here. Gordo is here. Look at this. What's up, my dude?
What is it, Gordo?
Bald Gord.
Yeah, it's been that way.
I'm still getting used to this. I mean, it's been, I know you've been on the show, you said in the notes, like 7 years since the first appearance.
Yeah,
here.
it's crazy. I thought it was 2017. I don't know when in 2017. I think about May.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Time is so weird. I think it's a thing with getting older, but also in particular the kind of 5, 6, 7 years I've had, especially the last 5 years. So I was like, it's not new anymore doing the show with you, you know. I still feel like
you're thin Gord, you're bald Gord, you chain Gord. I mean, there's like a lot's different.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like 7 years, but at the same time it feels like 20. So I remember arriving at the old studio in Rivonia and being like excited, nervous, but also annoyed because I had to get up so early. And then we decided to sort of immerse with a full week. We were like, yeah, cool, you're going to try being on the show. We're going to do the whole week. And then from there, we'll see if we have you come back. And Ben gave me so much shit. And, and then, we decided once a week. And for the next 3.5 years, I did most Wednesdays. I would occasionally have to take breaks because of the nature of my work. And that kind of, it was about 4 out of 5 on average. And then, before COVID started, or just after COVID started, doing full-time job, and I couldn't do it every week anymore. And that
Carl says you're starting to look like Benjamin Button. It's like you're aging backwards, which is a good thing. So your bald head is more amazing than mine, Laws, says Duds. All right, so lots of cool things. So I was thinking about the last time I was in Cape Town, and we went out for drinks. We ended up doing a karaoke night, and we were with those 2 girls who I know, and
they got very, very loose.
Jesus, it was bad. It was fucking crazy. No, Simpiwedo, it's not always dirty. Not always dirty.
No,
it was hilarious though.
It was child minding to a point, but we had a fat Joel. Gareth sang a song. What was it that you sang again?
I can't remember.
Some sort of old classic.
And one of the girls got up there and did like Cyndi Lauper or something.
Two particularly beautiful, and it's really anecdotal. It doesn't change their value, but 2 particularly good-looking friends of Gareth.
No, it does matter. The value goes up.
No, it just we were out, 2 really beautiful girls. This just does circle back to a point of mine. I had just parted ways with a lady I'd been dating for about 6-7 months. So like, a nice enough lady, just didn't work out. She turned out to be quite hard work, but this is not like, I dated a terrible woman. But I had recently split up with her, and I posted pictures. Now, first of all, I was dragged out. I was very happy to see you, but I was like, Gareth, I don't drink, I'm old. You've texted me at 9. I've got to come for a drink. Okay, I'll come for a drink. So then after the drinks, it's like 11:30. Gareth's like, where are we going next? Suggestions. I'm like, well, right by me, there's a karaoke place. Perfect, because I can just go home when you guys decide to go to the next step.
So, you see, I have to do this with people. I have to keep them young, or else they'll get boring and old very quickly.
The idea was that karaoke, so we can't hear some
only the same location. Shout out.
And also, I mean, like, karaoke's fun.
Yes, but the theory was, after having a couple of drinks at a bar on Kloof, I think, we were going to finish at karaoke, and then I live 1 kilometer from there, so I'm just going to, if they decide to carry on partying, I'll go home. So now these 2 ladies, one of whom I've known for quite a long time and is an absolute legend, they get properly loose. And they're like, no, you have to come back to the other side of to CBD and continue jawling with us. And then this one in particular lives also near me, so I can sort of chaperone her home after 1 more drink. We end up in Gareth's penthouse suite, and there's booze and there's everything, and Gareth sits us down. He has 1 drink, and after 25 minutes he's like, I'm going to bed. And then I'm there with 2 women getting utterly loose, and the one just won't go. I'm like, yeah, am I dropping you on the way home? No, just one more. Eventually it's 2:30. Point is, I post a picture of Gareth, me, and these 2 ladies, a surprise night out, and Yassi, this one that I just split up with, wrote me an essay a week later. No, apparently I had posted a picture of myself, found the 2 most beautiful women in the whole club, posted a picture of myself, going out late, which I didn't like to do when I was with her, on a weeknight.
But it was her you didn't want to go out with.
No. I mean, I just don't go out. I seldom stay up past midnight. And so I had found 2 very beautiful women and made a point of posting that I'm out and about and living my best life. And I was like, Gareth just caused me a series of problems.
I understand why she's mad at you. Like, you don't do that. After a breakup, you can't go out with good-looking woman. Like, of course, she knows that she's maybe okay, but like now it's 2 girls that are much more hotter than you, and you doing all the things that you supposedly didn't want to do.
I'm hearing that it's okay if you go out with ugly fucking gorgon trolls, but if you go out with pretty girls, that's not good.
Yes,
on no notice.
This is my ego, because I'm like, oh yeah, I was the best that he could do. Vele, I'm pretty, can't do better. Now he's doing better, and he's out and about living his best
I wasn't holding anyone's bum. I was in a photo. It's me, Gareth, and 2 women, and I'm like, got dragged out by Gareth, but it was nice to see him.
Oh man,
It was
That
fun
man,
though, dude. We did it. It was a
doesn't
good night.
even understand the truth in her world, in her mind. Yo, you did better.
I was texting everyone I know. Does anyone want to do anything on this Tuesday night? I'm desperate to get out. P.S. Do you know a place with hot girls?
That's like most guys in South Africa on any given night. Like, I'm desperate to go out. Do you know some place with hot girls?
Yeah. Do you have any hot girlfriends? Drag them out as well.
I've got this one mate who he is constantly trying to find like just some beautiful girl, just to be with her, just like
that's everyone.
Yeah, obviously. But this guy, he pretty much builds his whole existence around it. Right?
Okay.
So if you find out that there's some place somewhere, and Joburg's pretty slim pickings.
No, Joburg has got some of the hottest women in the world.
No, but I mean, like, where do you go? Like, there isn't a place.
Oh, for a jawl. Yeah, there's Melville if you want to jawl with young people getting off their balls.
People meet everybody on here now, which is so lame. It's lame.
Dude, I'm out of the loop, though. Like, when we first met, well, not when we first met, that was like 20 years ago. When we first started doing the show, 2017, if you'd asked me, like, you'd be like, we want pasta and drum and bass and low lighting and people of 23 to 27 in this LSM income group. And I'd be like, well, here's a selection of places. How late do you want to stay out?
Right.
Whereas now, like, I can't. People are like, have you been to like Jasper's? And I'm like, no, where DJ Curryface is playing. And I'm like, never heard of it. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, what religious denomination do you want the jewel to be? Yeah, but Joburg has beautiful women. Most of them talk like this. Shans, you know what? I tell you what, I went to Tasha's, I had a reservation, and then they told me I have to wait 15 minutes for a table. It's outrageous. Tasha's in the giant parking lot of Nickelway. But they are good looking.
It is amazing to me how in Joburg, the view doesn't matter fucking all, right?
No.
But in Cape Town, the view is the most important thing. So someone will actually move, and you worked in Cape Town for a while now. So occasionally you'll have to actually do meetings with people.
Well, the majority of work I've done in Cape Town, almost all of it has been remote.
Like but every now and then you have to meet with someone.
Yes, like now.
And in Cape Town, when you go to meet someone, to me, I don't care where it is. It's like whatever's convenient.
Easy,
because we need to talk. We need to discuss whatever it is that we're there to meet about, which is usually work related. We're not going to sit and shoot the breeze for fucking an hour. And it doesn't matter to me what the view is like, right? But Cape Townians are obsessed with this. You'll get a message from them 15 minutes before the meeting and 20 minutes before the meeting, and they'll go, oh, listen, it's so beautiful in Hart Bay. Shouldn't we meet there instead? You're like, no, I didn't come here for that.
Yeah. I'm not really like, I live in Sea Point, which visually is like very mixed. You've got like squalor and feces river going down the street, and then 1 block away it's like the most beautiful beaches that you can imagine. They're too cold to swim in,
and a 40 million rand house.
Yeah, exactly. And a 40 million rand house, and then a 20 million rand house being knocked down to build a 60 million rand house. I literally once saw a photo that said that the caption was Cape Town in a nutshell, and there was a homeless person sleeping with their back against a Ferrari, and that was in Sea Point. The photo, I was like, clearly that's Sea Point. So for me, like, it's like dating a supermodel. It's really, really good fun once visually it's still impactful. But when that wears off, you realize she's stupid and doesn't know how to fuck. But I love Cape Town. I don't really travel for the views.
You're a Joburg guy, and this is what I was saying at the beginning. Is even though you've been in Cape Town for a while now, you're probably still there. We'll go, you from Joburg, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always be from Joburg. You only get to grow up in one place. But I'm not one of these people that has to hate the one to love the other. I moved to Cape Town.
You can have both. You're not an idiot.
Yeah, I lived my whole life in Joburg. When I was 31, 32, I moved to Cape Town for 4 years, then back to Joburg for 5 years, and now I've been here for 3 years. The maths of that doesn't matter. The point is that I did the live here for 4 years and then move home thing. I've never been like, as soon as I land in Cape Town, I'm like, oh, this is paradise. Joburg was such a shithole. Yeah. Joburg's home. It's got a lot of downs, but a lot of ups. I have found, though, that my relationship with Joburg versus Cape Town entirely depends on my weight. Cape Town's a brilliant place if you don't mind being out in the sun, if you don't mind walking, if you don't mind never being able to park near where you're going. If you like being hot, Cape Town's great. If you want to park next to or under your house, walk straight into your house, drive to work, park under your office, go to the shops, park under the shops. There's parking in Joburg, and you're never forced to be outside.
Well, to the point that I was going to raise, and Simpiwe, you'll know this is true because it happens on the East Rand too. You don't care what you're looking at. They literally will go to a restaurant in Joburg.
Parking.
I say we, right? And Yonda's giving me shit here in the comments too, saying, sounding like you're obsessed with bashing Cape Town. No, I was actually about to bash Joburg.
Nice.
So Joburg, they'll go to some fancy restaurant and they'll sit looking at a car park with like a car guard as your only entertainment. And we'll be fine with that in Joburg.
Like Nickelway is the example I always use. I think it's changed names to something else.
All the restaurants look straight
It's a strip mall. It's like a 2-story strip mall. But it is. I mean, that's not a disparaging term. It's a mall that flanks a parking lot. So one of my sort of regular places, people are like, where should we go chow? I'm like, well, Turn and Tender is always a winner. I've always liked it, and it's in Nickelway. It's reasonably nearby, and it's in the parking lot with those grey bricks that are squiggly shaped. You know, parking bricks. And also there's Tasha's where you have to go and chow.
Yes.
I've always hated Tasha's. My own personal opinion, I'm sure they're a lovely establishment, don't sue me. But I've always personally despised Tasha's because they don't have an apostrophe in their name. And I've asked so many people, they're like, so how many Tasha's are there? Like, it's such a stupid grammar nerd problem to have, but it irritates me.
So you're the most grammar Nazi
Used
person.
to be. I let it slide.
No, I don't mind it.
What happened?
I actually... So Sims, you know how Ben and I were talking with you earlier about how in fact, it was Carl who corrected me. Carl the Carl DeSantos in the comments. So you can help me with this because he's a shit teacher. He says I always get fewer and less mixed up.
Yes. I mean, I don't agree you get it mixed up, but that is a common thing to get mixed up.
What is the rule?
Fewer is numerical. So so 7 is fewer than 10. So if we trying to split up a pile of marbles, but in the marble case it's less, and so less is quantifiable, like.
But so is fewer.
Yeah, but it's sorry, that's not the best way to describe it. Less is like.
I think you're making this worse.
No, put in less energy, make less effort. We're not going to count it. Whereas fewer is like there's a lower amount.
Can you use it?
So it's less.
Yes, less works in many cases, but there are cases where fewer works only.
No, sentence. No, I need a sentence. I feel like it's a spelling bee.
How about the rule with me and I in a sentence? So yesterday, Simpiwe and I went to the shops.
If we're eating cake and you want to decide how many slices of cake to take, and you take 5, and so I say, listen, perhaps you should have fewer slices of cake. That works, because now you must have 4. Whereas if you're munching on a piece of cake, and I'm like, you should have less of that. Don't finish the whole piece of cake. Don't eat so much cake in a day. But less will work in both cases in some contexts.
Suddenly the whole of the comment section has turned into my fucking linguistics professor.
Carol Berry's got it quite nicely there. Less water, fewer sweets. But you could also say less candy or less sweet.
Do you understand why I get
That's a really minor one. And you said, like, I'm a grammar Nazi. And also, I always prefer grammar pedant because being anal and painful and a dickhead about grammar. And
you're a grammar enthusiast.
Well, that as well. But if you want to say someone's a cock about grammar, fine. But don't compare me to like a race-related genocidal fascist regime.
But that's because of the bald head and the tattoos.
Yeah, I do look like a football hooligan.
You look like a football hooligan.
By accident.
Yes.
So I used to be a cock about it. People on social media making spelling mistakes. I'd be like, you're a fucking moron. Now it's like, dude, spell however you want. But don't condescend about how much smarter you are than someone and how you know so much more about a complicated topic without being able to spell.
But there is a famous Frenchman, Simpiwe, who they were going to cut his head off. The Marquis de something, de Nuit or something. They were going to cut his head off. And he said...
They had to read the charges.
They had to read the charges. And as they read the charges, he said... Well, I noticed about 5 grammar.
I noticed at least 3 spelling errors.
And then they cut off his head, and I'm like, wow, he's my new patron saint.
Yeah. So I don't bother
Being
about it
petty. That
unless
is
it's
being
your.
petty.
I don't bother about it unless it's your job. If your job is to be able to write and you don't know the rules, then I get very irritated. Also, if you've got a restaurant or a website and you know that you don't know how to spell, person knows if they know how an apostrophe works. So if you go, do I actually know how apostrophes work? I'm not sure. Like everyone's got a cousin that can read and write. Check it with them. Muchachos signboards not only have errors, but they'll say fajitas apostrophe S. 3 fajitas, no apostrophe, $40, 8 fajita apostrophe. So
there's no consistency.
So I know I don't know how it works. I'm like, shit, I don't know how these work. Let's just use them differently every second time. I can't eat there.
So Gord did say at the beginning of this, just to point out that you're not as fucking chilled as you think you are. He did say he despises, were the words he used, tashes, because they don't have an apostrophe.
But that problem started 10, 15 years ago when this was a big issue for me. You know, you like one bad experience that stays with you forever. And I won't never go there. I won't refuse to eat there. I'm just like, one tasha, many tashas. What does this mean?
Unless you're an English teacher or a language professor, it doesn't really matter in the bigger scheme of things.
I agree. That's how I see it now. But if it's your job or it's in your marketing, I know a lot of people who are copywriters.
Papa says, my spelling is great.
I work in this industry, and I know a lot of people who have writer in their name, copywriter, social media writer, creative writer.
Author.
And they don't know.
Author.
Speaking of which, dude, I brought you a new book.
You got a new book.
I made a new book. You're going to love this. Here's your copy.
Fuck, God, this is fucking cool.
This is a low content book. I'm trying to game Amazon to make money. And I thought, what is the easiest kind of diary I can make? And it was about tripping.
So what's the idea here, though?
Amazon's super saturated with millions of people doing this, but if you pump out enough of them, you can make a nice passive income. You take acid or shrooms or ayahuasca or whatever, and then you write your experience in it.
That's so brilliant.
So I was,
but you got a lot of experiences here.
I would have
to take a lot of drugs.
My next one, I'm going to make it fewer pages so that I can
or less.
So that I have to pay for less pages. But I was trying to teach myself to do it. With my other books, I've had layout designers help me. I've had graphic designers. So I learned Midjourney for the cover to learn AI art, and then learned layout software to plot the inside, and then learned to publish it on my own. It was like a practice exercise.
Is genius. All right, so Simpiwe, you do a trip. Let's say you
Don't
do
start
shrooms.
on part 3. No, they're the same. There's part 1.
Okay, so let's say you're going to do shrooms, Simpiwe. It's the first time you've ever done shrooms.
Or the 8th.
First, location and setting. So I'll try and think of when I did. It was probably a guided journey. What happened? Did you
I sat back and realized this is not that kind of chair.
So it was a guided thing with a shaman and everything at a house in Stellenbosch somewhere. It's beautiful. Companions. So these are people I work with. My intentions.
It's got 3 lines where you fill in under these headings.
So you have to fill in my intentions for this journey. I actually I go into anything like that with it. Just
open mind.
Teach me.
So yours would be like experiencing something new. Yeah. Open mind. Don't die.
Curiosity.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right. My life situation going into this journey. Now you'd have to be very open about that. You'd have to be like, I had an uncle fondle me when I was a child.
Well, it's not your entire history. It's more like what is happening with your life now.
Where am I?
What are you dealing with? Where are you at?
Right. I like my work, but it could be better.
I've got stress. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. A message to my future self as we begin.
It's a lot of waffly shit. I mean, as I said, I'm trying to sell a product. This is not one of my.
But this is a lot of journeys.
The idea, you've got space in there for 20, and I'm gonna make a shorter one.
Most intense experience of any entities encountered.
So you get 6 pages per trip. A double page spread for before, where you fill in about 10 things. Then during, it's just blank pages. You can draw an elephant or whatever. And then afterwards, you fill in again what happened and how it was. So how was your mushroom trip, dude?
It was good. But I mean, I've had a couple of really interesting experiences. And I feel like I always think these things are beneficial. Certainly for me, they have been. I'm not a regular...
Neither.
And I don't recreationally do it very easily.
Yeah.
To me, it's a thing that if you want to take things to another level, you want to get better at stuff, you want to figure out what's holding you back in some way, I would recommend. But I'm no doctor, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that people who've never experienced this, there's always going to be a curiosity about it. I think it would be a good idea.
I do it very seldom. I can go 3 years without it and then do it twice in a year or whatever. But also acid mushrooms and again, like purely experientially, like you said. But this is where I was going. Like, I've got a controversial opinion in that I find maybe 20% of people I talk about it agree with me and the others disagree. Everyone sees mushrooms as like, it's a safer thing, it's a more chilled thing, it can go wrong, but it's not likely to, whereas acid is like gambling with the devil. Mushrooms are more intense. They're way scarier. Like you are on a roller coaster with way more rickety wheels when you take a lot of shrooms than you are if you take some acid. Acid can go bad if you take too much and then one of your friends breaks their leg and you have to get them helicopter airlifted. It'll be pretty traumatic. But acid is like singing hymns of love to the universe. Mushrooms, roller coaster ride through all of.
So this is beautiful. I know you said you designed the cover, but I don't see your name anywhere.
No. It's a product. It's called Word Life.
I see Word Life. Like, this is the logo for Gord's publishing company, which is quite cool.
Wow.
But I think this is brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well done.
And the drugs thing, like, when I say drugs, I don't consider hallucinogenics drugs. I consider them, I don't want to use a hippie term, but I suppose you could say alternative medicine, which is dick, I know, but it's not, they're not drugs. That's purely, I was like, I'm making a product. This could have been like bestie journaling for girls. I was trying to just do a practice one, and off the top of my head, I was like, okay, well, on Amazon, there's not a lot of options for trip journals, so I'll make one.
Someone, Clint from the Val, brings up Ronnie's sex shop. Hey, Gord.
Yeah, I've always had a fascination with Ronnie's sex shop. I've never been in, but apparently it's not actually a sex shop.
What is it then?
It's a restaurant or something. I don't know. It's a coffee place.
Really?
Yeah, Clint, dude, what is Ronnie's actually?
Simpiwe, have you ever been to Ronnie's sex shop?
No, but I'm saying if it's not a sex shop, then why?
Well, it's a landmark on the way to Hardebeesport or Sun City or something. Yeah.
I don't know. One of the here we go. One of the actives in mushrooms is shmiodem.
No, 5-HMEO-DMT.
Sorry, I thought it was shmiomedem. No, I think the major ingredient in those shrooms is psilocybin. That's the thing that kind of gets you going.
I tried,
and with LSD, it's obviously.
I tried the 5-HMEO-DMT on like it's meant to be. This was years ago. I wanted to try it. Joe Rogan talks about it a lot. I had some friends do it. They said it was an incredible experience, and I had a friend organize it. Me, 2 friends, safe space. We had enough for 2 hits each and a spare hit in case anything goes wrong. My one buddy did 2, had 2 of the most profound experiences of his life. It was profound just watching it.
Really?
Yeah, the other one, I had both of mine and the spare one, and absolutely nothing happened to me.
So the shmiodimid did fuck all for you.
I did a bit of research, and apparently like a medication that I take is an inhibitor for it. But other research, because Google will always contradict itself, said like there is no immunity, nothing can stop it working.
So there's always the possibility that, and this is again coming from people that know more about this than I do, that you sometimes are not going to get like any kind of experience. It's going to feel like nothing happened.
3 times I did nothing happened. My face got warm.
Either because you're in balance at that moment,
doubted,
or that you are not ready for the next step. You know, that's what the shamans will tell you.
Like I was eager.
I know.
I don't know about ready, but eager.
Bitcoin Bot says your pineal gland produces natural DMT. Not bad to give it a top up. Well, yeah. So this helps you to sleep. You know, Simpiwe, that feeling when you're daydreaming and you fall in and out of sleep and you have these very vivid hallucinogenic kind of experiences. Everybody can have these. That's sort of what the DMT experience is meant to give you, but obviously a much more like immersive, to use another word that's overused.
You also have natural inhibitors. So this stuff is floating around your bloodstream anyway, but so are other chemicals your body makes that prevent it from like lobbing you into another dimension. And when the various ways that you could, it's in a lot of plant substances. So it's in ayahuasca, it's in changa, and various other things that I haven't tried.
It's called dimethyltryptamine.
Yes, that's that's why the one that I had, the 5-MHO, that is the concentrate.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing that most people don't know. In Africa, it's often been chewed in acacia bark. Like there's sangomas who've been using it for years too. Shamans in South America. But the thing with DMT is you also need to have something that releases an enzyme which stops it from being blocked. So
yes,
in other words, if you just took the pure stuff, your brain wouldn't necessarily take it up unless you also took...
Yeah, it's in your body all the time anyway. And then in certain states, like falling asleep, and when you have a near-death experience, your body pumps it out to make you like euphoric so that you can die peacefully. Your body's ability to not absorb it, you can bypass the little toll gate that prevents this shit from going straight into your soul. But I've never successfully done it. I've tried it once, it didn't work.
So schmiodometer is maybe not for you.
5-HMEO, something like that. But I just want the record to reflect that, like, it sounds like I'm the oak that's walking around on acid all the time and making products about drugs. I don't do drugs. I vape and drink diet soda. Those are the only two things I do that are bad for me, aside from working in the industry with Gareth.
Like, seriously, stop vaping.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. I'm on a mission to stop at the moment.
Listen,
I really, really do want to stop.
Vaping is fucking horrible.
I'm desperate to vape. It's in my pocket right now.
It's hard. Go for it.
Can I vape over there?
No, do it here. Do it here while we're doing the show. Watch. He's going. That's so bad.
For shame. For shame. Ding, 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 shame.
So, okay.
I used to proudly chain smoke weed. Remember, we've been doing this for 7 years now, on and off. I used to proudly chain smoke weed on the show. When we had to do it, like, I loved doing the Wednesday show with you, but I fucking hated getting up early and then driving in the traffic.
You still hate
but this is fine.
So, all right, here's Yonda says, Ronnie's sex shop is on Route 62, has some sex toys, but it's like a stall in the middle of nowhere.
So it is a random sex shop halfway to Harty's. I thought it was a clever name for a coffee place. So Ronnie opened a sex shop in a small Afrikaans town that needed one. And it's got a giant sign outside.
Let me tell you something, and Simpiwe, you'll back me up on this too, because I think we had a couple of conversations. You know, they still do that sexpo.
Yo, dude, I had such a cuck experience working at one of those.
Okay, but before you tell us yours.
Not in sex.
Every time I've ever been, and I used to like MC the thing.
At Sexpo. Sorry, please continue.
So I did. See what I mean? My trip journal. It's gone really well until Gord kept interrupting my trip.
Sorry.
So I had to MC the like party at the end or whatever, and they had this event, and you would see couples, but like old Afrikaans couples.
Yeah.
The woman's the mom, the Tannie, is wearing a blouse.
Bob that goes forward.
She's got the centurion hairstyle, right? She's wearing a blouse with flowers on it.
Blowers, we call that.
Blowers. And the husband is wearing like fellies and chinos and a two-tone Veldfocus shirt. And they got a packet full of fucking toys.
Yeah.
Yes, Simpiwe.
Dildo with a hand at the end.
And black couples, old black ladies, walking out of there with their husbands hand in hand. You can see they're planning a big night.
Bless them.
I loved it. I mean, to me, it's obviously revolting to think about what's going to happen, because you look at them and you're like, gross.
No, but more power
to me. I'm not saying to you.
Yeah, you don't want to visualize them.
I don't want to visualize them boning.
Them doing that, good.
But I'm happy for them. And like, I suddenly realized South Africa, we've got this whole thing about being super conservative.
Yeah, some of us.
No, to each other in public. People are. They don't want to do embarrassing things. They don't want to be seen to be doing embarrassing things. But man, when the lights go out, most South Africans are down and dirty.
There was an oak there that was there, and I haven't been for almost a decade, but I used to end up going there for work purposes and curiosity. So I had two stories. So first story of mine is I went there and I took mushrooms. And me and my buddy, let's call him Korn because he likes that band and we won't expose you. So me and Korn go and we take it with...
Location, Sexpo.
It was in Midrand, and it was just after an off ramp. So we're arriving. We are theoretically 5 minutes away, and we're like, okay, let's take these shrooms we've got, so they kick in when we get there. And the gridlock, we couldn't find a parking. As we're trying to park, we are snot coming out of our nose. We're laughing hysterically. Now we're panicking because we can't stop laughing. We're not enjoying laughing. We're like, please, can I breathe? Trying to park. We get in. There was a famous porn star. I don't know if she's still operational, but there's a famous porn star called, I think, Caden Cross. She's like world famous. A friend of mine they're there for that. They're getting a paid appearance. 2 very famous porn stars, like Hollywood level. And my one friend who works in marketing is like looking after them, handling them. She calls me.
Imagine being a porn star wrangler.
She calls me and she goes, listen, Gord, they want to go out and jawl after this. I bumped into you. I know you're here. Would you and your friends take them on a jawl? I said, no. I'm going to my one buddies after this. I was like, I'm tripping balls. I was like, not interested. I'm going out to like a hippie place. And I regretted that quite badly afterwards.
Gord is the only guy in the world who would have said no to that.
I was off my balls. The next day I was quite regretful. I wanted to go watch a rock band with my friends. And they're not even welcome to join.
Have you ever been, Sim?
No, I've not.
Conservative.
It's gotten dingy though.
No, look, I can't speak for it in the last 5 or 6 years, but it's still going.
Well, please, nobody sue me if I get this wrong, but it was started or at least taken to the height of its power by the same people who used to be involved in Verimark, who then started EFC Africa, the butt cage fighting thing, and they sold it at the height of its power to somebody else.
I think that's right.
And I then worked at so after it got sold, speaking of butt cage fighting, I used to be the ladies and gentlemen introducing now, fighting out of the red corner. Gareth Cliff is a mixed martial artist.
That.
I did that for EFC Africa, and then they fucked me over so badly, and I stopped doing it. So now Sexpo gets new sketchy people owning it, and they're putting on like a once-off high-budget MMA event, and they asked me to come and announce it, and I say yes. And it was such a dog show. It was so bad, and the cage collapsed mid-fight. They had like half the fights before they called it off. The referee wasn't qualified. The one oak got beaten senseless, and they didn't stop the fight. And a dude that I know is very respectable in MMA was asked to come and commentate. He walked out, and then mid-fight, the cage collapsed with dudes in it. And they brought out all these Australian and New Zealand fighters, and they all had to get paid for not having to have a fight. And that was Sexpo after the Verimark guys, who allegedly may or may not have been the guys. I'm not sure. I think.
So Carl says he had his bachelor party 12 years ago on the same weekend as Sexpo. All the decent strippers were there, so my best man could only get 2 grannies with oven plate areolas. The one beat me so hard.
You'll never forget that now.
And Lee reckons it would have been great if you'd taken Ron Jeremy out while tripping balls.
No, I would have taken him. That would have been fun. Strippers and bachelor parties. I don't enjoy strippers. I never have. I don't like strip clubs. I refuse to go if someone. But when I was like in my 20s, you go for it. I've been maybe 5 times. It's the most expensive way to have a wank, because you can't do anything. You become insanely aroused at 1,000 Rand a shot, and you can't just like sort yourself out. Whereas online, there's
that's not the point.
It is, and it's gross. The drinks are
food,
$100
okay?
each. You can't do anything with these belters. You feel bad that it's gross. So I have always disliked strippers at bachelors. My one friend gets married. We got a Hearties. We rent one of these stay the night jawl in seclusion places. We all take mushrooms, small amounts, and we're having a fat jawl. But there's been a stripper booked.
Hearties.
Yes.
Yeah. There's been a stripper booked. The bachelor wants it over with. Don't worry, she's arriving at 9. They've chosen her from the best man, and the groomsmen oaks that put this together have chosen it. We can't get properly loose until the stripper comes and goes to tick the box. Doesn't arrive. Start getting WhatsApp. We're on our way. Sorry, we're having a problem.
Strippers are very unreliable.
Dude, the wrong stripper arrives. They were like 3 hours late. She had this like boyfriend handler, definite meth. Not maybe, not giving meth vibes. I know when you on the most amphetamines. I know the look. I know the facial expression.
And the teeth.
The teeth, definite meth. And then we're like, this isn't Candy from the website. No, she couldn't make it. I'm the backup. And I'm like, no, but we don't. We texted you 3 hours ago.
Imagine being the backup stripper.
We texted you 3 hours ago and said, you're late. If you're still on the way, don't come. You're not replying to your messages. And then that we just refused. We were like, you're not the person we ordered. We're not paying for this. You're 2 or 3 hours late. It's literally like 12:30. They were meant to be there at 10, and sent them packing. And then the guy's like, please, can I just at least then have 100 Rand for petrol? And if we can whip out $100, we're like, take 200 Rand for fucking
Just
off.
get out. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was the last. I was just like, strippers is myth.
Well, I reckon that there's very little in the world that's more embarrassing than being the boyfriend of the backup stripper.
Yeah. Pimping backup strippers is not a great life choice.
That's terrible, right? Oh, geez, Gord, you look so good, says Alice, my dog.
Thank you.
Great having you on the show again, Gord Group.
Yeah, I love being on the show.
Terrific.
I try and regroup with Gareth more often, but our timing's always bad. He messages me and I'm like, dude, I'm on a deadline. Sometimes for companies Gareth's involved with, sometimes for others. Like, I'm pulling late nights. I can't do this week. Can we do the week
Shut
after
up, no one
next?
cares.
No, we just, the will is there.
Can I like to have a few rand to get back to Boksburg? Please, man. Hey, don't knock the East Rand. Some people get fucking cross.
Alice Cliff, is that?
It's my dog.
Okay.
She's learned to type.
And she thinks I look good. Thanks,
Yeah,
Alice.
she does. Gord, you have definitely been in Mavericks, as you know the cost for a private dance.
Never been in Mavericks. Friends have tried to drag me out, and I used to live 100.
Come on, man. I've been in Mavericks.
Never once. In Joburg, I've
You're
been
so
to the
full of
Grand.
shit. Of course you have.
I swear on my life.
Oh, please.
I just haven't.
What a lot of crap.
I'm not pretending I haven't been to
Oh,
strip
you were
clubs.
so
In
full of
Joburg,
shit.
I've done several teasers. I've done the Grand. I've done the Titty Twister. By the time I first moved to Cape Town, I was over it. But I lived literally one block.
Look at Simpiwe's face. Simpiwe, the Titty Twister was before the Grand. The same guy, Andrew, who owns
a couple blocks away.
And the Hawks shut him down there.
That place was the best.
It was so cool.
Out of all the strip clubs I don't enjoy, that one was the best. And they had you paid this high fee to get in, but it included free all you can eat. And the food was separate from the strippers.
Still is at the Grand.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. The food was separate from the strippers, and there would be occasionally a stripper in there eating. They wore like gowns and stuff. So it was almost like having a restaurant next to the strip club as opposed to a
restaurant.
And the food was banging. It was buffet, and like you had to use tongs.
Let me tell you something.
It was so
Let me tell
good.
you, the teppanyaki steak that they make at the Grand. Now, I think it's
I don't know if I've
1,000.
eaten at the Grand.
I think it's
One of the most
1,500.
expensive
Listen, Simpiwe. It's 1,500 Rand to get in, so it's expensive. But you can eat. Let me tell you.
I'm ignorant. What is a teppanyaki steak? What do they do to a steak to
They've got a
teppanyaki?
chef. The guy, he puts all the stuff on, and he cooks it on the you know, like the thing they use to make breakfasts in fancy hotels.
The flat griddle jaw.
Right. He does this
indoor
beautiful
Kodak.
like fillet steak on there, and then he mixes it up with some other stuff.
Is he naked?
He drizzles this. No, he's a chef. He drizzles this fucking sauce over it. Let me tell you something.
Drizzling sauce in a strip club is frowned upon, Gareth.
It's spectacular. It's like some of the best food you will ever have in your life. Was that your alarm to wake
That's
you
why
up?
if you're not awake by now, shit yourself alarm, yeah.
Carl says only very poor people think that a buffet is banging. Buffets are so cock. Okay, but
Yeah, but I was in my morbidly obese stoner phase. So when they put out 40 buckets of good food and say, have as much as you want, I used to take it as a challenge. Yeah, I could barely breathe, but I could eat.
And Pumlani says, what did you get for 50 Rand at the Golden Curtain, Gareth? Now, do you know what the Golden Curtain is? Simpiwe, do you know?
No.
I told this story years ago when we were doing Idols. We went to PE. And it was when Colin Moss was still the presenter. And Randall and I and the producer, a guy called Carl Olin, and Colin, we decided to go to this place. Someone said to us, the only place that's open now is a strip club called the Golden Curtain. Okay, so we were like,
Okay.
yeah, when in Rome.
What do they mean by curtain? Because
So-
in a strip club, that could mean a lot.
That can mean a lot, right? So we get there, Simpiwe, and there's like a queue of 10 people. So I'm like, wow, this place must be good, right?
Outside.
In PE, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. You just should have just said strip
I
club
did.
in PE. I would
did.
have visualized
You should have heard it in the beginning. Okay, so we get to the front door. it will be tattooed on the inside of my skull for the rest of my life. You know how much entrance was?
20
And-
bucks.
7 rand.
Oh, specifically 7.
Not 5,
Not
not
10,
10, but 7 rand.
Because I obviously had to increase it. It was 5 for a long time, and then it's like, oh, it's overheads.
So we got to the front of the queue and there were still 10 people behind us. And I'm like, for 7 rand, I'm paying for all of y'all. So I was
What
balling.
year?
This is ages ago. I think probably 2008.
Because
9,
even
something
when
like
you
that.
turned 18 and were going for the celebration of finally being able to go legally, be allowed legally, that was cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
It was still cheap.
But it was super cheap.
In 1998.
And a horrible quality of strippers. I wouldn't try the
What
food.
do you
It was-
expect for 7 rand? Oh.
Yeah, of course, but I'll never forget it, right? Like sometimes the worst places you go to, you never forget. They make more of an impression on you than the best. I've been to clubs in New York. I've been to like Mediterranean islands. I've been to amazing fucking places. But the funniest and the best stories
You've
come
stripped
from
the planet.
No, I haven't. There's strip clubs, actual clubs. But the Golden Curtain, man.
So why was it every bit as bad as you were? Like, with
It
this,
was
the people,
horrible.
women giving birth inside,
Hope you didn't catch nothing, girls.
chest tattoos uncovered,
There were
discharged.
They were old, worn out, uninspiring, not particularly pleasant.
That's
to
what you
at
look for in a
strippers.
stripper is inspiration. You want an inspiring
Yes,
stripper.
Yes, you do. You want one who's not going to complain about her financial situation for a start, okay?
Oh, dude, back in the Lolly Jackson teasers days, when we used to work at FHM, we would get invited to every event they ever did in the hopes of publicity. And we went once that I can remember, possibly twice, because we actually were a lot sort of more hardworking and like we took the job seriously and it was hard work, but we did have a lot of fun. And the one time they did a charity thing where they were, so our publisher, the sort of,
Charity.
yeah,
A
they,
charity
no,
thing
they
at
had
the
a charity, they had a charity event.
And we're going to have this, for all the children with encephalitis, today we're going to get together and
I
tease
didn't
it.
ask for an audit of where the money went, but the tables were expensive, the drinks were expensive, but our boss came with us and he left early, but before he left, he was like, guys, this is tax deductible. So within reason, go big. We spent 20K on the company in like 2006.
Oh.
And the strippers there were of like, I'm like, why are you a stripper? Why don't you just like model for a living and make more money? But the one kind of, we had a good vibe with the one. She sat with us. We sort of had a proper, like legitimately friendly vibe. And after her shift was done, she sat with us and had a few drinks. None of us had any hope of hooking up. She was going on about her billionaire fiance all the time, but she told us what she made. And this was like 2006. She was making 100 to 200 grand a month, but she was world class.
But now prostitution is all online, right? And obviously there's a difference between prostitutes and strippers, but Simpiwe, that you saw this story. We talked about this woman last year already who tried to like sleep with 100 men in 24 hours or whatever. Now it's 1,000 and something, right?
Yeah, but
Men
like
in
now,
24 hours.
Listen.
yes, that's her goal for Feb. I don't know if she's still gonna do it because apparently
24 hours.
in 24 hours.
How
Some
many-
other OnlyFans content creator has beat her to it and has slept with like 1,000 and like.
But that must just be like stick it in, next back, stick it in, next back, stick it in. Like how much time per oak is that? Can someone maths that? So let's use 25 because it's easier. So there's
It's horrible.
4 25s.
Yeah, let's get a calculator. We'll do this properly.
So it's 24 divided by 60. We'll get the other amount,
Okay.
or 24 times 60.
0.4.
Sorry, 24 times 60. That gives you how many minutes?
You got 1,440 minutes.
So you've got 1.5 minutes per dude, and that includes switching them up, having at least a wee every 4 hours, and something to eat in the midway point. Like you have 1 minute per dude if you don't sleep. Well, that's enough for me.
We should enter
It's
Gord.
crazy because you
I can
guys are
help
like,
with this. No,
if
I would if I wasn't
like
spoken
one
for.
guy at a time. But homegirl was like, no, I'm gonna beat the system and have like group sessions at a time.
Group
those
sessions is possible, but only if
But
sex.
Sims, I always feel like what would it do to my self-esteem if I was guy number 999?
you'd look down on Guy 1000 and be like, loser. You're like, fucking loser.
Oh, Gareth, her friend already did 1,000 men in 12 hours.
No, but that's literally a dude like arrives, sticks in once, next
How
arrives, sticks in
revolting.
once.
Okay. Yeah, it just sounds terrible. Gareth, when looking for a perfect stripper, would I be proud if this is my daughter? So much inspiration.
Yeah, some of them are inspiring. But dude, earning 100 to 200, call it 150 grand a month in 2006 or 7. That's proper now, but it's properly proper then. I mean, I can't look down at somebody who's like they retired at 26 and now collect Ferraris.
Scott says, never mind your self-esteem. Imagine that vagina. What a fucking mess.
Hey.
What were you going to say, Sims?
No, but I'm saying that the top OnlyFans content creators, they're earning like $60 million.
Yeah, I think it's 40 million, the biggest earner recently. And she looks like I only saw this like in passing as a headline where I didn't read the story, but I saw the lady in question and she looked like she was 18, 19. And not to me particularly like unbelievably attractive. This wasn't like the most beautiful woman
I feel
I've ever
sorry
seen.
for, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel sorry for what we would now probably call the traditional strippers.
Yes.
You know, the kind who go to the
Analog
clubs.
strippers.
Yeah, analog ones. The ones that we were talking about earlier, that you would go to a place
Get
and
a booby rubbed against your cheek.
I mean, I kind of feel like they're like the horse cart before the car came along.
Yeah, but as of yet, the screen still can't rub a warm booby against your cheek. So
there'll always be
they'll
room
always
for them.
have that. Yeah,
There'll always be horses. Like
yes,
yeah.
There still are horses. They're just not mainstream. But do you remember like when, I mean, of course you wouldn't ever have known anything firsthand, but have you heard stories about when porn was like a physical product and you had to have like a little hidden trommel for it in your cupboard where you had to hide it because it was on VHS and DVDs?
I think we were lucky enough, thank God, to have been born after that. But
yeah, Kulani still caused my bestie Kulani, who Gareth has met a lot of times. It's just a mess, but I love him. He caused the most embarrassing event of my life through physical product porn. We had been on the jaw. So I had a housekeeper that was like, she worked for my family for years. She still works for other people in my family. She's retiring soon. She's like heaven sent and I adore her. I'd grown up since I was 8 with this housekeeper. And then once a week she would come to like where I had my first place of my own in my 20s and do a Sunday. I was often there hungover. There'd be friends passed out on the couch and she just knew to like ignore us and do a thing around us. And if there was a place she couldn't do because someone was there, just carry on. And so Kulani knows where my limited but perfectly normal supply of this stuff, where my few DVDs are. We pass out after the jaw. He goes and gets one and puts it on and then passes out. And the DVD menu screen on a DVD was like, it has like chapters, special features, play, behind the scenes. And it just loops the most intense screen. So I wake up at 1 p.m. hungover. Kulani's still sleeping on the couch. I'm like, why is there intense group porn on the screen? But the house is spotless. Spotless. And I've never been able to look the housekeeper in the eyes again. And I see her every time I visit my brother.
Oh, God, that's horrible.
Yeah, all Kulani.
So according to Yonda, it's not true that woman had 1,000. None of them have accomplished that. So it's yet to be, this Everest must yet be summited. None of them have accomplished that. She tried to do this, and after 50 guys, she gave up and started crying. Well, that would be normal, actually. And apparently her cuck boyfriend was sitting next to her and discussing the men that entered. Oh, that
because we
horrific.
Joke, but this stuff actually does make me feel like, it's not cool. It's exploitative,
gross, man.
And one's like Candy, whatever her real name was, but like that was her stage name. I'll never forget. She was properly one of the hottest women I've ever seen in real life at the at Lolly's charity
analog.
Event. She was like in that rare echelon where like you are the 1 in 1,000 that can actually finance, like buy luxury vehicles for cash. The rest of it, it's just like very exploitative, and you get the feeling this person would rather be doing anything else. And that's why I don't like strip clubs. I lived 1 block from Mavericks. I lived on the corner of Batenkant and Ruland in an apartment building for 4 years. I walked past Maverick every time I went for a coffee at Haas. I've ranted to you before about Truth Coffee and how terrible experiences I've had there, and how they claim voted best coffee shop in the world, but I've never been invited to vote in the coffee elections. So I would walk past Cuck Truth and then go have coffee at Haas, which was the next place, and walk past Mavericks 3 times a week and never wanted to go there.
So, all right, you're busy with stuff like this, and let's just give this a plug again, because I think there are lots of people who, it's very fashionable and cool these days to talk about your last journey.
Yeah, I'm trying to capitalize on that. Like, again, I'm not in the industry of promoting. I'm trying to practice.
I love it. I'm promoting it for you.
Yeah,
you don't have to say
it's on Amazon, not in South Africa, but around everywhere else in the world. If you search Trip Journal, you'll find like 3 or 4 results, and you look for the one that's got this cover if you want to buy one. But I'm trying to make I do my own writing, and actual stories and books that I write is a separate thing. I'm trying to make like product books, like journals for people to write in, exercise books, stuff that's not a personal reflection of so about the kids' books, totally a separate thing. To one, like the next one I'm going to make is word circle things, because apparently that's still huge.
But like Sudoku?
Find the word
for word.
Because I've got a piece of software that generates them. So you theme them and you design it nicely. You make the letters big for old people. It's making products.
I'm just trying to think of the last couple, because we always do this when you're on the show with me, is we look at the last few things we've sent each other on Instagram, which is always hilarious.
We'd say we always do it. We've done it like twice before.
It's funny though, right? Do you want to know, Sims?
I want to know what's going on in the DMs.
So here's a picture of Jesus of Bethlehem. That was what Gord sent me this week.
A couple of Instagram jewels.
Probably the best thing that you'll see today. In 2017, a group of developers hilariously competed for who could create the worst volume control interface in the world. The results... I don't know if
anyone can see, but the difficult ways to control the volume. The one is you have to shout at it for the volume you want, and the other one, the volume bar is on a seesaw, and every time you tilt it, the ball rolls. You had to see it. Share it as a story on your Instagram.
What a good idea!
Because it's cuck funny. It doesn't translate well to podcast, but. Share it as one of your stories. I thoroughly enjoy your stories. They're either funny or insightful or highly judgmental and bitter.
This was fascinating. And again, this goes back to our love of language, right? Merriam-Webster posted this. Something interesting you might not have realized. A number of words in English are nouns when you stress the first syllable, but verbs when you stress the second. Your conduct is better when you conduct yourself appropriately. Conduct being the same word. You stress the first and it becomes like a noun, and you stress the second.
More examples to follow.
Right? And then here's always thank someone for a present they present to you.
Yeah. With that insult, you insult my intelligence. There's another one, and I'll get this wrong, but we subconsciously, without ever being taught in English, order adjectives according to category. So you'd never say a green, big, old truck. It's be a big old green truck, your brain does that automatically. There's like 6 categories of adjective, and you always order them right. Or
size comes first.
Yeah, age, a couple of other
color.
Things. Yeah, like an old green big truck just doesn't work.
It doesn't,
right? It makes total sense, but it doesn't work. And there's better examples of a sentence where you can use 6 adjectives in the wrong order, and you're just like, no to that. But you get them in the right order, and it works.
I love it. Okay, we're out of time, guys. I can't believe it. We're 8 o'clock already.
Crap ass.
This is so much fun.
Yeah,
dude, it's nice to actually be in the room with you, which hasn't happened for ages. Sims, thank you for sitting by idly while we had to talk about filthy things.
Sorry, we're this way.
That's fine.
And we will see you on Monday.
I also don't think I've done a show with Sims before, and I see you in lots of the content.
Simpiwa's been on this show now for some time.
But I don't know if I've done one live with you, and if I have, it was when I used to smoke weed and do it in my lounge.
She's the OG. And by the way, you don't know this, but Simpiwa took off like a couple of months in last year. She had a baby.
Oh, muzzle.
Yeah. Very cool.
Muzzle. Are you sleeping at all? Because you got to do this at like 4 a.m.
I barely.
I still wish, dude, with the internet and the fact that probably significantly more of your listeners are podcasts, are download and stream than they are live. I just wish you would start doing this. Do an 8 to 10 show for the love of God. Then I'll do it every day.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll think about that. We've made enough changes in the last while. The audience are up to here with me.
I want to do my own show, and I want to do it on the Real Network.
Please. Someone said earlier, when is that podcast coming along? They've given up on you.
Yeah, because it's hard to set it up on your own.
No, it's hard for you to stick to anything.
Fair point.
Yeah, there we go.
Except for maybe losing 220 kilos. 120 kilos.
Again, like now that I'm actually sitting here with you. Love it. All right, Sims, we'll see you next week. And cheers, everybody. Have a good weekend. And
Thanks
sure
for
you
having
don't
me,
do
guys.
any horrible things at a place called the Golden Curtain.
Don't ever go, even if $7 feels like a great deal. It's probably like 12 by now with inflation.
Well, I think they've got to keep their prices low in PE. Let's be
it's
fair.
the same women, so you don't necessarily have to give them raises.
So you come for you come for the strippers, you stay for the drinks.
You stay for the atmosphere, yeah. Bet you the curtain wasn't real gold.
No, it wasn't.
Plated at best.
No, it wasn't. All right, cheers, everybody. Bye.